The Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, on Tuesday resolved to leave the monetary policy parameters, including the monetary policy rate, the benchmark interest rate, unchanged at current levels. The Monetary Policy Committee of the Apex Bank unanimously voted to hold policy retaining the MPR, the rate at which commercial banks borrow from the central bank, at 27.50%. The committee also retained the asymmetric corridor around the MPR at plus 500 minus 100 basis points. Cash reserve ratio of deposit money banks at 50% and merchant banks at 65%, and left the liquidity ratio unchanged at 30%. This comes after the National Bureau of Statistics released the much-awaited rebased gross domestic product estimates, pegging nominal GDP at 372.82 trillion naira, about $243 billion, as at 2024, reflecting a year-on-year increase of 18.30% in nominal terms. Joining us on this show to discuss the GDP rebasing and the outcome of the MPC meeting is Samuel Ayininuola, an economist. Good morning, Mr. Ayininuola.
Good morning.
And it's good to see you again on the program.
Yes, thank you very much. Good morning, Ruben. Good morning, Jimbai. And good morning, Rufai.
Morning.
Yeah, morning. And good morning, viewers. Yes.
So two issues here.
Yes.
The first, which we discussed yesterday, was the Bureau of Statistics, saying, okay, GDP rebasing has brought us GDP growth to the extent of about 3.18% increase. Yeah. And I argued yesterday that that's not good enough, that we need more productivity to even take nominal GDP growth to about 6% plus. That's when we can celebrate. But that because there's no productivity, we're celebrating very little gains. Now, the second is the Monetary Policy Committee meeting yesterday, where all the 12 members voted unanimously to hold rates. Now, the CBN governor says we're trying to address the disinflationary trend. We need to manage price pressures. We need also to ensure economic growth. So they've been cautiously optimistic. Do you think that is good enough at a time when Nigerians are even saying cut interest rates, reduce the cost of borrowing, make things easier for people who want to do business? Those are the two key issues.
Okay. Yeah, thank you very much, Doctor. I think the MPC, they were being very, very cautious in maintaining the existing rate. And maybe that was why it was unanimous. Obviously, expectations of most Nigerians will be that rate will go down so that the cost of borrowing will go down and ability to do business will also be enhanced. And then the burden of borrowing will be reduced. But then there is this monster inflation that you have to consider. When you bring inflation, when you bring rate down, inflation is likely going to go up. And that's why the governor is saying that they are watching this sticky situation of inflation. Because if you bring the rate down, two things will also happen. One, apart from inflation, then you also have to look at the exchange rate, the pressure on the naira, because it will now be easier to get the naira. And since most of the things we do all have FX content, then it means demand on FX will go up. And once that demand goes up, the exchange rate the exchange rate will depreciate further. Because it's been good that we've had exchange rate stability now for the past weeks and months. And we have to hold on to that. Because if we don't, Nigerians are already complaining about poor standard of living. Things are tough. we can't eat. Everything is difficult. So if, again, there's a further depreciation of the naira, things will become tougher.
Absolutely.
So you share the view of the
of this cautious, yes, I share this view of this cautious approach.
Optimism.
Optimism, cautious optimism. Yes, cautious optimism. Because we need to continue to look. Okay, in the last 2 months now, the head-on inflation has been going down, but it's still too early. We still need to watch it over some months before we can categorically.
About the GDP, nominal GDP growth.
Yes, the nominal GDP growth is economic growth. It's grown by 3.13%, right, compared to 2.27 at the previous quarter. That is low. No, I think it's low. For it to have impact on people, because that's what we are interested in. For it to have impact on people, I will say we should not celebrate anything less than 5%. Or you say 6, well, 5. 5%, so that let people feel the impact. We are celebrating these figures are coming out now. How has it translated into the life of the common man? The common man can't feel it, can hardly feel anything. You know, has the cost of food gone down? Has the cost of transportation gone down? Has school fees, has it gone down? Has rent gone down? No, they can feel it. They can feel it. For us to celebrate, it must not, I don't think it should be less than 5%. That's my own personal view. Yeah.
You hear what you're doing is saying 7%. Some people will say double-digit numbers. But given that the goal or the vision is $1 trillion economy, yes, and this is where we are now, we know that this interest rate is necessary, but it has the connotations that it hinders growth.
Yes.
How do we navigate through this sticky situation we find ourselves in? Because earlier, we were discussing the fact that the source of our inflation, unfortunately, cannot really be tamed through monetary policy tools. There are structural issues that need to be rectified. So, given the current situation, what are the strategies you feel need to be implemented for us to give a stimulus to this GDP growth, to stimulate productivity and industrialization, if we may call it that, given that access to money is so expensive?
Yes. The issue there really is that we need to be self-reliant. Nigeria has to be self-reliant. Because the 372.7 trillion value of the GDP, that just translates to about $243 billion. We're talking of 1 trillion. That's where we want to get to. So it's a very long way off. It's a long way off. Nigeria has to be self-reliant. There has to be structural changes in this economy. The way it is, when you look at the composition of the GDP that the NBS just released, you will see that the services content has gone up. Industry has gone down. There's no way you can have sustainable growth based on that. You cannot have sustainable growth based on that.
Man after my heart. I love your analysis.
Yeah. So we need to be self-reliant. Nigeria has to be self-reliant. We need to restructure this economy. There are structural issues. Even with these figures that we are celebrating, in May, the World Bank and the IMF did predict that the poverty level in Nigeria will be increasing by 3.6% every year for the next 5 years. It's very frightening projection. So it's for us to work and to say this will not see the light of day. Yeah.
Okay. Let's go back as regards things that can bring about growth. I hear some school of thought make the argument that, yes, we need a very strong manufacturing base, to be able to mop up jobs and things like that. What about a service base? Because when you look at most of the economies that we look at today, there's a transition to the service economy. America is largely a very service-driven economy now. Most of the output and productivity and production is done out of China, Vietnam, and the likes. How do you balance out that argument? Because we are not also doing badly in service economy, and it's churning out some good numbers.
Yeah.
But we also need skilled people in that service sector.
I agree with you. We need skilled people in the service sector. There's no doubt about that. Mm-hmm. And this GDP composition that has just been released shows that the service sector is growing. But the manufacturing base, for the level of economy that we're in, has to also be enhanced. It has to be enhanced. So that we're saying, make Nigeria great. We want to make Nigeria great, so we want to rely a lot on what we can do for ourselves, what we can manufacture. It won't be as good as what is imported. It will not be as good as things that are brought in from China and all these other places. But then we need to start from somewhere. But then you will agree with me, Rufai, that manufacturing as it is today has a lot of constraints.
Yeah, no power and all the problems. But so if we're trying to fix trying to fix manufacturing,
yes,
we might be joking, because manufacturing has even gone nuclear in terms of science. It's gone robotics. If you want to do manufacturing to compete with international standards of manufacturing today, you might go into robotics. Robotics and AI might make people lose their jobs. So the idea of manufacturing being a buffer to be able to create jobs to mop up people in the lower rung of the society might not hold sway again because of the technological advancement. I mean, even companies like Foxconn that used to have close to over 1 million people on their production line are dropping people because robotics is doing the job more often. Then leads me to the question and the conversation about agriculture. We keep talking about agriculture. How can we really use agriculture to mop people of this unemployment and create that sustainability?
Yes, agric is key to our economy. We are naturally endowed. We have the land, fertile land all over. And one great thing that nature has done for us is that we don't even have disasters, natural disasters. No floods, no hurricanes, nothing. Things are just good for us.
Mr. Ayininuola,
Yes.
before you go.
Yes.
Agriculture, yes, we agree with you. Yeah. After all, today, the Lagos State government is doing a major program, Reduce for Lagos. We had Mrs. Hammond here yesterday, also talking about the importance of agricultural value chain. But one more question, which we discussed earlier today. The federal government of Nigeria has received approval from the Senate to borrow $21.5 billion. We're going to borrow from Japan, from the European Union, and from other sources. The government says we're going to spend this money on infrastructure, health, education, payment of pensions. Pensioners have been protesting at the National Assembly. So are you optimistic that this money is that we borrow? Economists say borrowing is not the problem. It's what you do with it that is the issue. Are you optimistic that this 21.45 billion will not go into conspicuous consumption on the part of persons who have been given the privilege to lead us?
Yes, there's nothing wrong with borrowing, as long as you use borrowing for production and not consumption, right? So we must have effective control over the borrowing that we have.
No, the question is, are you optimistic that this government will not fritter away the money on conspicuous consumption?
Yes, that is why all of us, we have to be on it. We all have to continue to monitor what is being done with the funds that come in, either for direct investment or to refinance existing borrowings that we have. All of us have to do it. We have to put them on their toes by continuously monitoring what is being done with whatever it is taken by the government. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Ayininuola, for your time and insight.